Okay, so let's have a short discussion about AVRT versus AVNRT versus AT. Okay, this is what is the close differentials. Many want to know how to differentiate. So basically, we will discuss about these things mainly because of the re-entry mechanism. Re-entry is a circuit like a circle mechanism inside the heart. What happens inside the heart? The conduction system is a long circle. It's not a short circle, it's a long circle like this. It will never return within a re-entry circuit. It is the SA node to AV node through the atrium, and then the AV node has a decremental conduction. That is, if the heart rate becomes fast in itself, AV node decreases the speed of the impulse, and then it goes to the bundle of his Purkinje fibers and then to the ventricular depolarization muscles. But then it ends, and then the SA node again activates. Are getting the point? This is not a re-entry circuit. It's not the complete circuit. It just ends at the posterior basal ventricular muscles. So what happens in re-entry circuits is, if there is an SA node, there is a re-entry mechanism. If there is a AV node, there is a re-entry mechanism. If it enters the Purkinje fibers, then it can conduct retrogradely to the SA node through some of the bundle of Kent. These re-entry mechanisms may work and make it either atrial tachycardia, either AV nodal re-entry tachycardia, either AV atrioventricular re-entry tachycardia. So three re-entry mechanisms work at different places. So for us, very important are AVNRT and AVRT, and then AT at some places. Okay, so what is AVNRT? The basic embryological mechanism of AV node is that it is made up of some two pathways, because during the formation of AV node there is some fibrous segment in between in the center, so that it appears that it may make a by like two different pathways. So in that mechanism, what happens, the AV node will have one slow pathway, another is fast pathway, or it may become slow, fast, slow. All these mechanisms are there, but the most common being that it is slow, fast pathway. It's a bidirectional pathway. So what happens at some places, when the SA node activates by ectopic, or at some times the delayed activation of the AV node will cause it to conduct only through the slow pathway. The most common mechanism is slow fast pathway. That is, it will conduct only through the slow pathway. So it comes slowly in this pathway. The importance of this slow fast pathway is that one which conducts slowly has a very short refractory period. In the sense, the refractory period becomes nullified very early. The refractory period becomes, once the patient, the conduction is coming here, the refractory period would have gone already. What happens in the fast pathway is that it has a long refractory period, but it conducts very fast. So what is happening? The pathway is conducting slowly, it's coming slowly, but since it has a long refractory period, still this refractory period would have gone by the time it would come here. So it will start conducting in this one, but it conducts fast, but this slow pathway has a rapid or slow or short refractory period. So the refractory period would have been ended here, so it will conduct again. So slow conduction, fast conduction, but fast recovery, slow recovery. So this vicious cycle will go on. What will happen if this vicious cycle will go on? If it doesn't matter, but what happens during this conduction, it will conduct retrogradely, it will conduct anterogradely also. So what is happening? It's just like the some patakas which we use. It rotates in its own circle, but it also gives signals up and down. At some bad ectopic or some SA nodal conduction, it conducts through the AV node. In this cycle, it starts like this, and it will conduct anterogradely, and it will activate retrogradely SA node also. It will go and activate retrogradely also. SA node is getting activated, SA node is getting activated, and it will again conduct anterogradely also. So what we will do is that we will make a pathway of SA node, AV node, Purkinje and conduction. This is what is the normal sinusoidum. So P wave, then is a QRS, then is a ST segment, then is a T wave. This is what is the normal one. So what is happening now is that the P has gone. Okay, the P has once activated the AV node. So sometimes the P has activated the AV node, and then what happened was that the QRS started. So QRS started at the same time. What is happening? It is conducting retrogradely. So same time the SA node is getting activated. So at this time the P wave is coming somewhere here, and then the ST segment comes. Then the activation continues. There is a QRS, upon that is a P wave, which may be seen or which may be not seen. Then then is a QRS which is having a P wave. So what is happening? You are having a QRS which is having a P wave, sometimes retrograde conduction, and then is a ST segment, then again a QRS, then you are having some P wave. What is the peculiarity of this is that as the conduction is coming from retrograde activation of SA node, usually in the inferior leads, the P will be inverted. That's why you call it as pseudo S in inferior leads. Because what happens is that in inferior leads, the PQRS, so this will be a retrograde P is inverted P, and then is a T. So we feel there is a S wave, but the S wave is a pseudo S wave because of the inverted P wave at the end of the QRS. It doesn't fall on the ST segment, very important, because there is a simultaneous activation of the SA node and the ventricle, simultaneous activation. So when you see the simultaneous activation, obviously the P should fall on the QRS. Are you getting the point? So the RP interval is absolutely less than 70 milliseconds or even 50 milliseconds, less than 50 milliseconds, because there is simultaneous activation of the SA node along with the ventricle, so QRS and P should come together. Only thing is that P should be inverted in the inferior leads for the AVNRT, because there is a retrograde conduction. So at this time you compare this one with the AVRT. AVRT has two mechanisms, because there are also the two mechanisms. One is that the SA node to AV node to ventricle, then the bundle of Kent, then the SA node. This is what is the circle. This is a bigger circle. You can see the AV nodal reentry was a shorter circle. The AVRT atrioventricular reentry is a bigger circuit. The SA node, the AV node, ventricle, and the bundle of Kent, So it's a bigger circle. What is happening? It may also conduct in the anterograde direction like this. The SA node to the AV node to the ventricles, and then the again the bundle of Kent and the SA node. This will become a narrow QRS complex tachycardia, that is orthodromic AVRT. That is what is the differential between the AV NRT. But what is the difference between AV NRT and AVRT is the bigger circle. You can see that there is a bigger circuit running here, but similarly there is the AV node is completely involved here. So whatever the action will be happening on the AV node will work here. So what is happening, if the anterograde circle is working like this from the SA node to AV node to ventricle to the bundle of Kent, then most probably you are dealing with a narrow complex tachycardia. Only issue is that the P is activated after the ventricles is activating. You can see that the ventricle, through the ventricle activation, then only it can activate the SA node. So what is happening? There is an QRS complex, and then on the ST segment, because the ventricular activation and depolarization is coming, at that time there is a conduction, retrograde activation of the SA node. So there is a P wave, that is retrograde activation, same as the AVNRT, where in inferior leads you will get a retrograde P wave. But what is happening here? There is a QRS, then along the T wave, along the ST segment, there is a inverted P, then there is a T. But very difficult to differentiate sometimes. But when there is a absolute small P wave in inferior leads, you can see that there is a QRS complex, there is a little inverted P wave, then is a T wave, then also same QRS complex, there is little inverted P wave, then is a ST segment. This is a orthodromic AVRT, where you are seeing that the RP interval is still less than 100 milliseconds, but more than 50 or 70 milliseconds. So this is how to differentiate between orthodromic AVRT and AVNRT, purely from the timings of the P waves. That's otherwise it is very difficult to differentiate between AVNRT and AVRT. And another thing is that as it is conducting through the bundle of Kent, usually the heart rate in AVRT will be faster. As the heart rate is goes on faster, you will be getting a more AVRT, and that's why the more chances of electrical alternance. As the heart rate increases, goes on fastening, the electrical alternance becomes a prominent thing because of the calcium deficiency or calcium decay. Because of the increased heart rate, there may be electrical alternance. So electrical alternance in a way also supports the fast heart rate during the tachycardia, the narrow complex tachycardia. In a way, it also supports the AVRT, because AVRT is the has the one of the most fastest narrow complex tachyarrhythmias. Then is the AVRT, then is the AT, then is the accelerated reciprocating tachycardia of the junctional tachycardia. This is how the heart rate goes on becoming down. Like to 300, you are thinking of AVRT, near narrow complex. Then is the 250 or 200, you are thinking of AVNRT. Then like 150 to 200, you are thinking of AT. Then about 100 to 150, you are thinking of junctional reciprocating junctional accelerated junctional tachycardia. Other is that irregular heart rates. You have AF, where you have 300, 150 to 300. You have atrial flutter, where it is absolutely 150. This is how the heart rate and the differentiation of the narrow complex tachycardia. So you just go. Then AT, what is atrial tachycardia? Atrial tachycardia is similarly a reentrant tachycardia or maybe automaticity. Both can function in the SA nodal pathway. If the SA nodal reentry is there, then you have a common sinus P wave, but there is a rapid conduction across the ventricle. There is a RP interval is more than 100 absolutely, because it will be like a sinus P wave only, but there is no sinus arrhythmia. The variation with respiration will not be there. And other forms of atrial tachycardia are, if the ectopic atrial activation is there, you can get the rhythm from the same thing. Like the atrial activation is from the LA, then you will be getting an inverted P wave in V1 in all the tachycardia's rhythm. If it is from the coronary sinus, many times you can get the inverted P waves in the inferior leads, because from the origin of the ectopic atrial activity, we will get the different forms of P waves. But only issue is that always the RP interval will be more than 100 milliseconds. That means it will be absolutely just behind the QRS. It will be just behind the QRS, but the voltage and amplitude and the axis will change according to the origin of the atrial ectopic. So we will just brief what we have discussed. So it is the AVNRT, the most common. The rate varies from 118 to around 260. Rhythm is narrow, 120 less than 120, and atypical has a RP interval more than PR interval. P wave is negative in inferior leads. Typical is what we have discussed. RP interval less than PR interval, pseudo R wave in lead 1, and there is a pseudo VS in inferior lead, that is inverted P waves. AVRT is the second most common, one of the fastest heart rates. Regular narrow complex is orthodromic. If it is wide complex, bundle branch block or aberrancy may be present, then it becomes a wide complex. And orthodromic, usually RP interval is always less than PR interval, and there is a slow conduction accessory pathway. The retrograde P wave is inverted in these things. But in sinus rhythm, you will see delta waves. Don't look for the delta waves in tachycardia. Antidromic is also a short RP interval, but there is a wide QRS complex. Third is the AT. Atrial tachycardia usually is the rate is little less than AVNRT, but the ectopic P wave morphology will depend on the ectopic origin of the atrial tachycardia. So this is what we have discussed. You can see that there is a reciprocating fast and slow pathway. So you can't differentiate where is the P wave. The P wave is falling somewhere here on the QRS. So you are not seeing the P wave. If you can't genuinely see the P wave, and if you feel that there is a pseudo S or pseudo R wave in the inferior leads or V1, then straight away go with the AVRT. There is no other AVNRT. There is no other differential. If you find a P wave which is falling on the ST segment, there is a pseudo ST segment depression here, and there is slight positiveness here, then it's most probably you are dealing with a AVRT. This is AVRT, and rate is little faster than the AVNRT. And this is the quietic atrial activation. You can see some tall tented P waves which are not typical of the sinus P waves, but they are coming just before the QRS. So the very long RP interval or very short PR interval, and but there is a regular tachycardia, mostly little lesser than the what you feel with the AV and RT. That is how to differentiate these three things. This is not the sinus rhythm. You can see there's a good P wave, U-shaped P waves present. So this is how to differentiate between the three tachycardias. Please go through the journal I have shared in the group for the same. Thank you.